What's up guys, I'm Sean from Sean54. Today I'm going to be changing the front control arms on my E46 BMW M3. I went to the track and what I experienced, I thought it was brake judder. I hit the brakes, the steering wheel kind of shimmied. So in the process of adding the race patch, you can check out my video that I posted the other day, I found out that the actual wheel assembly actually moves a little bit. So then when I further inspected it, I realized that my front control arm ball joints are bad. So I bought brand new front control arms from Limfrindor. Once I install this, my front suspension will be completely brand new. So I'm very excited to try it out on track. Here are most of the tools that you'll need to do this job. The most important one is this ball joint separator, or people call it pickle fork, and a big hammer, because the ball joint will be stuck on the steering knuckle. So you're going to need this. This is a 21 open end box wrench. So I have two of them to give me some flexibility. If you have a ratchet 21, it would be perfect. And then you'll need an 18. These are the same, but one is a ratchet. And you're going to need a 16 to remove the front control arm bracket. This is a 13 to remove the sway bar if you decide to drop the sway bar. And then you're going to need some an 8mm socket to remove the plastic under tray. And I'm running aftermarket bolts on my metal reinforcement subframe. So I'm using a 15, but it might be a 16 or something else. So you might want to check what yours. This is just some Allen keys, just in case the ball joint starts to spin when you tighten it. The 18mm. .21 over here. Remove this nut. I'm going to remove this nut. Remove this with a 16mm socket. So here's the factory control arm. Has about 150,000 miles on it. And here is the new OEM replacement. And if you look at the factory control arm, this thing is pretty flexible. And look at this. This is definitely bad. This is definitely bad. And this is pretty soft. If you look at the new one, this is pretty stiff. I have a hard time moving it. And this is definitely not going anywhere. So that's how I know the control arm is bad. So now I'm just removing the PowerFlex front control arm bushings with a mallet and just tapping it. If you have a factory one, you probably want to replace it too, because it's probably bad. Put the bushing back into here, and then line it up with the control arm. Use a mallet and softly tap it back in. So the new control arm came with some new nuts. So installation is pretty straightforward. It's kind of the reverse of what we did. Loosely install the nuts, the nut on top. So you might have to get creative to get this part to line up to those holes. So what I'm doing here is I put one of the bolts for the subframe plate here. I'm going to use a screwdriver and get creative on how I pry it, and another screwdriver to help line up the holes. So when you go to tighten this, you may find that it kind of spins endlessly. There is an Allen key on the top of the bolt. So what you can do is you can stick an Allen key in here and use an open-end wrench to tighten it. At the same time here as well, if you're turning it and it keeps turning and turning, there is an Allen key in the top that you might have to stick an Allen key in there while you turn it with an open end. As far as torquing this, you could probably go through the engine bay with some flex head joints, or maybe just use 2 really long open end wrench and try to guess at 66 foot-pounds. So we're going to torque the front control arm bushing bracket to the subframe at 44 foot-pounds. The 21 millimeter nut up here, we're going to torque it to 66 foot-pounds. And the outer ball joint nut to the steering arm, we're going to torque it to 48 foot-pounds. And then the control arm is pretty much done. Now you just have to go to the other side. If you're going to replace both, I recommend replacing both. So on the driver's side, I actually just dropped the sway bar brackets in the middle. Just loosen the two 13 millimeter bolts on each side. You can leave the end links, let the sway bar hang down like this, and you give you a little bit more room. Also, to get to this bolt, you can turn the steering wheel out to give you a little bit more room. The subframe reinforcement plate back to the car is 43 foot-pounds and another 90-degree turn. And you put the tray underneath and it's pretty much done. So after it's all said and done, you may want to get an alignment. However, I don't know if it's really necessary. It really depends on how bad your ball joints are, because we didn't touch the tie rod, so there wasn't any adjustment to the toe. We didn't touch the camber or caster on top, so technically we didn't do anything to mess with the alignment. However, if your ball joints are really bad and whatever you aligned it to previously, it could be out of spec. So you put new ball joints on, then it could be out of spec. So for good measure, it's probably a good idea to get alignment, but not sure if it's 100% necessary. So the front control arm is pretty much installed and done. With the old control arm, this would move. Now there's zero play at all. So my front suspension is pretty much brand new. New front control arms with the new ball joints. New tie rods with the Z3 steering rack, Öhlins coilovers, the PowerFlex front control arm bushings, sway bar E-links. So it's good to go. So the front control arms are pretty much done. You just got to put everything back together. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.